The rain fell in soft, steady sheets, tapping against the diner's foggy windows like a whispered secret. Sarah Miller sat at the counter, her hands wrapped around a chipped ceramic mug, the warmth of the coffee doing little to ease the chill in her bones. She wasn't supposed to be here. Not tonight. Not on a blind date meant for someone else. But life, she thought, had a way of pulling you into places you never planned to go. Hook, 0:00A015. Sarah's heart raced as she glanced at the diner's clock. 10 minutes until he arrived. A man she'd never met. A date she'd agreed to on a whim. Stepping in for her friend Emily, who begged her to take her place. He's a CEO. Sarah, Emily had said, her voice bright with excitement. Rich, single, and a dad. You'll love him. Sarah wasn't so sure. She was just a nurse, tired from long shifts, with no time for love. Yet here she was, waiting for a stranger named James Carter, wondering if this was a mistake or destiny. Context. Emotion. The diner smelled of fried onions and warm apple pie, a cozy contrast to the cold, wet night outside. Sarah smoothed her navy blue sweater, suddenly self-conscious. She wasn't dressed for a date, not really. Her hair, still damp from the rain, clung to her cheeks in loose waves. She'd only agreed to this because Emily, her best friend since nursing school, had a last-minute family emergency. "You're doing me a huge favor," Emily had said over the phone, her voice cracking with gratitude. "Besides, you deserve a night out." "You're always working, Sarah." Sarah sighed, staring into her coffee. She loved her job at the hospital, loved helping people through their worst days, but it left little room for her own life. At 32, she lived alone in a small apartment, her evenings filled with microwave dinners and reruns of old sitcoms. Dating felt like a luxury she couldn't afford. She'd tried it before: awkward dinners, forced smiles, men who didn't understand her long hours or her quiet nature. So why was she here, waiting for a man who probably wouldn't show up anyway? The bell above the diner door jingled, and Sarah's breath caught. She turned, expecting to see James Carter, the mysterious CEO, but it was just a delivery driver, shaking rain off his jacket. She relaxed, though her nerves still hummed. Emily had described James as kind but guarded, a single dad who ran a tech company downtown. "He's lonely," Emily had said. "He just doesn't know it yet." Sarah wondered if loneliness was something they'd have in common. Outside, the rain grew heavier, drumming against the roof. The diner was nearly empty, save for an old man reading a newspaper and a waitress wiping down tables. The quiet felt comforting, like a pause in the chaos of her life. Sarah traced the rim of her mug, thinking about her patients. There was Mr. Thompson, who always joked about her bringing him extra pudding, and little Mia, who'd drawn her a picture after her surgery. They were why she kept going, even when the days were long and her heart felt heavy. But tonight, for the first time in months, she wasn't Nurse Sarah. She was just Sarah, waiting for a stranger who might change everything or nothing at all. Rising tension. The clock ticked closer to 8. Sarah's phone buzzed, and she glanced at it, hoping for a message from Emily. Instead, it was a reminder about her early shift tomorrow. She groaned softly. Another 12 hours of charting, comforting families, and dodging grumpy doctors. She loved her work, but it was relentless. Sometimes, she wondered if she'd ever have room for anything else: a love, a family, a life beyond the hospital walls. The bell jingled again, and this time, a man stepped inside. He was tall, with dark hair slicked back from the rain, his navy coat dripping onto the linoleum floor. He scanned the diner, his eyes landing on Sarah. Her stomach flipped. Was this him? He looked tired, his shoulders slightly hunched, but there was a quiet strength in the way he carried himself. He approached her table, his steps slow, deliberate. "Sarah?" His voice was low, warm, like the crackle of a fire on a cold night. She nodded, her throat tight. "James?" He smiled, a small, hesitant curve of his lips. "Yeah, sorry I'm late." The rain a broken bar and, well, it's been a long day. He slid into the booth across from her, shaking water from his coat. Up close, she noticed the faint lines around his eyes, the kind that came from worry or too many late nights. He wasn't what she'd expected. Emily had painted him as a polished CEO, all confidence and charm, but this man seemed a broken bar human. Tired, like her. They ordered coffee, and the conversation started slowly, like a car struggling to start in the cold. James asked about her work, and she told him about the hospital, her patients, the way it felt to make a difference, even on the hardest days. He listened, really listened, his eyes steady on hers. It was unnerving, how seen she felt. Most people glazed over when she talked about nursing, but James leaned in, asking questions, nodding like he understood. He told her about his daughter, Lily, who was 6 and obsessed with dinosaurs. She wants to be a paleontologist, he said, a soft laugh escaping him. She's got this plastic T-Rex she carries everywhere. His face lit up when he talked about Lily, and Sarah felt a warmth spread through her chest. She could see eye to the love he had for his daughter, the way it softened his edges. But there was something else, too, a shadow in his eyes when he mentioned work, the company he'd built from nothing. It's a lot, he admitted, stirring his coffee. Meetings, deadlines, investors. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in it. He paused, glancing at her. You probably get that, don't you? The weight of it all? She did. More than he knew. They talked for hours, the diner fading around them. The rain slowed to a drizzle, and the waitress refilled their mugs without asking. Sarah felt something shift, a quiet tea she hadn't known in years. But doubt crept in, too. Why was she here, pretending to be Emily's replacement? What if James found out she wasn't the woman he'd been set up with? The thought tightened her chest, and she sipped her coffee to hide her unease. Twist or breakthrough. It was nearly 10 when James leaned back, his expression softening. You're not what I expected, he said, his voice gentle. Emily said you worry Broken Bar well. She didn't mention how real you are. Sarah froze, her mug halfway to her lips. What do you mean? He hesitated, as if choosing his words carefully. She told me you were a nurse, but she didn't say you'd be so broken bar grounded. Most people I meet, they're all surface, but you're different. I feel like I can breathe around you. Her heart pounded. She should tell him the truth. That she wasn't Emily's friend in the way he thought. That she'd only come tonight because Emily had begged her to. But the words stuck in her throat. Instead, she said, I wasn't sure about tonight. I don't a broken bar do this. Dates, I mean. He smiled. A real one this time, warm and unguarded. Me neither. I only agreed because Emily's relentless, and because he broken bar well. I've been alone for a long time. Lily's my world, but it's just us. I didn't realize how much I missed this. He gestured between them, the space filled with quiet understanding. Sarah's eyes stung. She wanted to tell him everything, but fear held her back. What if he felt betrayed? What if this fragile connection broke? Before she could decide, James reached across the table, his hand brushing hers. It was brief, a fleeting touch, but it sent a jolt through her. Can I see you again? He asked, his voice soft but sure. She swallowed, her mind racing. Yeah, broken bar, I'd like that. Ending with insight. They left the diner together, stepping into the cool, rain-washed night. The air smelled of wet pavement and possibility. James offered to walk her to her car, and they moved slowly, their shoulders brushing as they passed under streetlights. Sarah's heart felt full, but heavy, too. She knew she'd have to tell him the truth about Emily, about the blind date mix-up, but not tonight. Tonight, she wanted to hold on to this feeling, this spark of something new. As they reached her car, James turned to her, his eyes catching the glow of a nearby lamp. Thank you, Sarah, he said, for tonight, for being a broken bar. She smiled, her chest tight with hope and fear. Thank you, too. He lingered, as if he wanted to say more, then stepped back. I'll call you, for real this time. She nodded, climbing into her car. As she drove away, the city lights blurring through her windshield, Sarah realized something. Life had a way of surprising you, of leading you to places you never expected. She'd come to the diner as a favor, a stand-in for someone else. But maybe, just maybe, she'd found where she was meant to be. Call to action, insight. Sometimes, the smallest choice as a favor for a friend. A rainy night in a diner can change everything. Take a chance on the unexpected. You never know who's waiting to see you, really see you, for who you are.